What's going on? This is binary options trading secrets with price action. I'm just trying to help you figure out what exactly you should be looking for when you look at your Forex charts. I want to show you what candles I use, what I look for, and how to really maximize your long-term success if you're going to trade binary options. So I'll just run through the Euro US dollar right now. So the first and most important thing is to realize every day is different. Every day is different and nothing has to happen. So, having said that, I like to use 15-minute candles and have my expiry be anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour, and at the shortest 30 minutes. And you can use offshore, you can use binary option platforms that have the 15-minute ticker that allows you to have an expiry every 15 minutes, or you can use fixed time frames as long as it's at least 30 minutes long. And on a daily level, I like to use the 15-minute candles. Now here's what you would have had to do on Friday to maximize your chances. You would have had to know that the euro is bouncing off this bottom. So you have to have the daily chart in mind and have the sentiment of many traders and the world on a forex pair, so you know where the bias is. So we've been in. You would have had to look at a daily chart. You could see we hit a bottom. We bounced. It completely resisted. Off its this is 2.5 deviation Bollinger Band off of a 25 moving average. So it came down on that on the daily chart, tried to bounce up. Once it failed to bounce from here, and the euro's been in this huge decline the past year. When it failed to break higher, this thing just took off, and then the emotions got in, so we got into a huge selling downtrend. And then look what happened. We caught a bottom, we reversed it, and then this was like the double bottom here. And I don't know if we'll ever see this price again. You had everybody thinking we're going to parity, it's going to 1, blah, 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 and it did not happen. We bounced. So you kind of had to have this engagement to the Forex, to the Euro, to be able to have the correct bias on a daily level. So once it hit this bottom and we saw this bounce up here, to me that's like, okay, we are looking now for bottoms to go long on the Euro. And that's the mindset you got to have. So then you look at your daily charts. So here's a 15-minute chart, and you can look at this. You can see obviously here the dollar on the FOMC statement, the euro just went like 400 pips. That's insane. But yeah, they're just selling off the dollar index, and because it's at such a high, so the euro is starting to get a lot of bids. So here, look at, you got this huge uptrend. It hits here, falls back down, and almost gap fills all the way back down. So you could have played some reversals here, but if you were patient enough and waited for this to bottom out right before this huge 400 pip move, you had so many chances to make money on every single dip on a 15-minute chart. Every single dip. So when you're looking at the price action, I like a 15-minute chart. I like to have an overall sentiment of the forex pair, and then you got to take your shots where they present themselves. So on a 15-minute, on a daily chart, you look at this and it is just looks bullish. However, it didn't go straight up the whole day. You had 2 pullbacks. So you could have made money on reversals, but the easy money was on dips. And you could have said, well, we've broken out this was like overnight. You could say, well, we've broken out here in the New York session. It's coming up, riding along the top end of the Bollinger Band. There's so much pressure for it to retrace and follow through on that daily move. There's just so much pressure for it to try to retest those levels at 104, 1.10426, $1.10 basically, that you're looking for any kind of a pullback to get long. So timing is everything with binary options. So if you're going with a call, say your bias is up, you're waiting for pullbacks, you need to get the timing right. And you need something significant to happen for you to go into a trade, or else it's not a trade. So personally, I would have stayed out of anything short and just looked for the pullbacks. What did we see here? The euro ran right into its 20 moving average, and it could not break below it. You can see, look on the minute chart here. You see on the minute chart, it ticked for like 1 second onto that, and this level is the 20 moving average, and then it just went straight up from there. So you want to look for significant things that make sense. You don't want to start calling calls down here even though it has reversed back down, because there's no levels on a 15-minute chart that make sense for it to get a bid. Now here it finally retested, and this is where all the sellers are like, all right, I'm covering, or I'm afraid to be short any longer, and then people start buying it, and then you get this bid. Ultimately, it's going to be driven by the fundamentals and the momentum of where all the money's going. And right now, so oversold in the short term and the long term, there's just a ton of buying pressure going up. So if you wait, basically you're just saying, well, I'm going to ride this trend. Every time it touches a 20 moving average, I'm going to go into some longer, 30-minute to an hour calls on a 15-minute chart. You could have pulled the trigger here, and right here it ran into it, and it actually broke below the moving average. And that's, like I said, nothing has to happen, so it doesn't have to bounce, but that's a decent level. If you would have just waited for that bar to close after it broke through, you would have been able to catch some nice bottoms here for an uptrend and had a decent chance to win on a binary trade. And again, I mean, you could have went short, but this was a tough place. I mean, with the euro getting such a bid, you don't know how, if it wants to gap fill the entire move back up. So it's tough to short this here. But if you did, I mean, you had a good 2.5 hours reversal here. But again, it was a significant level that it did not reach, which was that second surge up, and it did not get to it on Friday. So that's just, I mean, and that's just 1 day of trading, and that's like all the stuff you need to pay attention to if you're doing binary options. And every day is different, so there's no one thing that's going to work. You just have to understand, kind of get a grasp of all the factors that are making something move. And when you make your trade, you need something catastrophic to happen for you to lose. If you can say that, okay, if this doesn't win, then something just got blown out, or there's something crazy. If you lose and it's just, up, whatever, it didn't mean anything, then that you didn't make a strong enough entry. And for binary options, accuracy is more important than anything else, because when you start losing, you start tilting and making worse decisions, and then you blow an account. So you need to make sure you're trading less and trading higher quality and using good analysis of the charts to make your decision. So that's what I got for you for price action secrets. That's what you need to be paying attention to. That's the chart time frames I use and what I look for every day to determine what kind of entries I do. This style is basically, you get a bias, you get a direction, you wait for things to set up in favor of that bias, and then you got to pull the trigger when it makes sense. So you got so much pressure going up here. It's just I'd just be so scared to go short. Now that the euro has bounced pretty good, we're running into this moving average again on the daily chart, the 25. Personally, I think we move up until this band comes down until they meet somewhere. I think this and then it'll be a test to see if we're really going to reverse this daily trend or make another new lower low and go to parity. So we'll just have to watch and see. But that, I mean, you can use that analysis for any forex pair. That's just the euro because it's the most actively traded forex pair, so that's why I'm covering it. And that's for binary option traders. Hopefully that helps you. This is smarthelping.com, and I also have links to the trusted binary option brokers in the description box, and you can go to Smart Helping for more on trading.